Some of us, welcome to the afternoon, depending on what time, where everybody is in this world. We've been spending, just one note, like a service announcement. For those who are coming on like midway, don't worry about it. Like we review, we circle back. So wherever we start together is the right place to start. So for those that are coming on for the first time now, welcome. For those that are coming back, thank you. It means a lot to me. We've been talking a lot about this idea of the mind, the scripts, the thoughts. The reason why we're doing this is because this is the game. This is the battle. The battle doesn't take place in our hands. Our hands are, once you get to our hands, the battle is either won or it's lost. The battle takes place in our minds. So it pays to spend time in that world to understand it, to get a greater grasp of what's going on. And the reason why it's so difficult is because we can't see it the way we can see other things. So we have to somehow go in blindly into our minds, right? We're like walking into an area of which we can't see. And it goes even more, we don't know what's us. It's an amazing thing that there's the essential me, and then there's my thoughts. And my thoughts could have come because of something that came to me. My thoughts could have come because of something that I saw or heard. My thoughts could have been because of someone else's thoughts. The persistence, there's a certain level of, it passes down. Somebody gives it to you and then you give it to somebody else. It's like a virus. Someone could be plagued with the virus of anger and as a result pass it down to somebody else who wasn't born angry, was just been conditioned to act in a certain way and challenge. And so much of what we're doing is being driven by our mind, but it is our mind that may be driven by other things. It's incredible. We could be living our lives and a portion of it is just like not even us. Just think about it. Think about like being in a world, and again, I keep on going back to these same examples only because they're so simple, because it's not as complex, even though it's not simple, but still. Think about growing up in a home where nobody eat. Let's assume you go up in a home and in the home, the feeling is if it tastes good, you eat it, let's say. So that kid wasn't born with the perspective that whatever it is that you want to eat, you eat. That's not how kids are born. When kids get full, they stop eating. You ever feed a baby? And first of all, they eat. You ever taste formula? I did once. I like put my finger in it, see if it was hot. And I got too much on my finger. I was like, oh my gosh, my kids are eating this? Formula is disgusting. And the kids eat it. And when you give them too much formula, they spit it out. You know why? Because we're born with this concept that food is medicine. Food isn't a playground of being able to just use our mouths as pleasure centers and then making us pay for it in our bodies. It's medicine. It's supposed to be there to make us stronger. And the reason why it tastes good is because God's good to us. And there are things that taste good and make sure it works. How we turn food into like some target of our pleasure, it's just sort of a Western concept of let's just gorge. We didn't get that growing up. We didn't get that. We weren't born with that. We got that. So much of what we're doing, whether it's in our actions or it's in our minds, could be just given to us. We're like just passing it on. We're not even like there. And one of the things that we're trying to hit at here is this idea that there is a difference between who I am and even for sure who I am and what I do. That's what we did 3 weeks ago. What we're going into now is there's a difference between who I am and how I think, or what I think. Not how I think, what I think. That's a big separation that needs to take place. It can drive you crazy if you overthink it, so don't. But if you underthink it, it can leave you like a robot. if you're plagued by your thoughts, it can leave you like a robot. And there are people like this. A lot of people like this. I've got friends of mine who are psychologists, psychiatrists. They tell me all the time. There are people that walk in and they're like, it's just too hard to control or try to get a handle on my thoughts. For some people, they need medicine. That's okay. That's cool. That's why we have doctors. It's like, there's some people that need, okay, wonderful. Some people don't. It's just hard to control your thoughts. And they don't want to. They just want something. And maybe if it's not an actual pill, maybe it's hours in front of a screen. I don't know. Maybe it's destructive behaviors. Maybe it's not controlling yourself. It's because we haven't yet found the I that can stand above the thinking and determine which of these thoughts we're going to go with and which of these thoughts we're not. Yesterday, we introduced the concept of separating self from thought. And in the beginning, it's going to sound, I don't know what the right word is. I feel like it sounds a little weirdish. Like, the word's not weirdish. It's like, it's like sometimes we like things that are like hard. I can touch it. I can taste it. I can feel it. The minute we get to like thinking and I am my thoughts, I'm not my thoughts. Some people feel like, nah. It's too new agey for me. But we spoke about this concept yesterday and we used this example of a projector. At least the projector that I made up. I don't know if it's actually what happens, but the concept is there, which is the projector is the mechanism that takes the film as it passes through and shines a light in it. And it is the light that gives life to that image. Because the people sitting in the theater, all they're looking for is the image. And they think the image is real. In fact, they think the image is so real that if somebody in the movie dies, they cry. Now, that person who dies could have gotten an Academy Award for dying. They could be living in the biggest mansion in Beverly Hills because they're the best dyer in Hollywood. But they're still crying because it's so real in the moment. If you think about the process, the moment that image became real, even though it's not to the person, is the moment, not when the film came out. You need the film, obviously, but not when the film comes, because if that film goes up and goes around, that reel, and the projector ain't working, they're not seeing anything on that screen. So understand that if you think about the you, the I, you, the essential you, which, by the way, we can never know what that is. We can never understand what that is. All we can do is use the process of elimination to know what it's not, and then assume that whatever left it is until we know what else it's not. Just checking my time. Right, Frank Nitty. Ken got it. That was yesterday. Right, Ken? Awesome. So if we can understand where we're at, the film that comes through is our thoughts. It comes at us, right? It's got real images on it. It's got detail on it. All of a sudden, we're sitting there and like, I'm back. For those who pray regularly, you go back all the time. Like, always. The minute you have to concentrate on one thing, it's amazing. I could be like literally trying to say a few words, and I'm like back in like 12th grade. I'm like in like the middle of a conversation with something. Like, how did I even get here? They're thoughts, neuroconnections, thoughts. They pass by that. You, the essential I, is the one that is going to determine how much light to give to each thought. If something comes by and you shine a light, now if you've got no control over the I, if there's no space between you and your thoughts, then every thought is either, usually the thoughts that are the scariest or the hardest are the ones that get the most light. because you're relying on your natural survival mechanism. So if you're going to think, I could do it, and then you're going to think, I can't do it. Well, if you have to choose between I could and I can't keeps you safer. That's how it works. It's like this whole thing. I'm not going to get into quarantining for a second. I told you this whole thing, whatever. Fine, I'll get into it. Somebody took a test in our family, and in speaking to the doctors, they realized that because that person had antibodies, they shouldn't have taken a test. So they most likely don't have the virus. And then they retook it and they still don't have the virus. So now in speaking to the doctors, they said, well, I know you probably don't have it, but you got to quarantine anyways for 14 days. We said, how come? And they said, because we don't really know. So because we don't really know, like, we play it safe. I can't. Now, whether they're right or wrong is irrelevant. I can't is always the safer move. Just play it safe, stay home. Because if you, God forbid, if someone has it, it's not worth the risk. So whenever your brain is given the choice between you're good or you're bad, I can or I can't, you're always going to choose I can't. Because I can't will always keep you safer. So if you're indiscriminate, if you're not going to look at your thoughts in any difference, if there's no I that's part of this thinking process, if everything is the same, what's going to happen is as the thoughts come into your mind that are the ones that are going to keep you safe, it will automatically take preference. You'll automatically seek to confirm how you feel because that feels better. And there's a certain safety in being right. That's why people hang out, people that are just like them. It's an incredible concept. You hear someone with a different opinion and you can't handle it. There are people getting divorced because they are voting for two different people for president. I mean, just think about that concept, that I have a different belief than you as to who should run this country. And as a result, I can't live with you. That idea that if it's hard for me to deal with it, then that thought that's coming into my head that is more challenging is going to get more attention. Just like if I'm walking down the street, if someone's walking down the street and they see two cars and one is driving normally and one is swerving, they're all going to put all their attention to the thing that is swerving because the thing that is swerving is going to be potentially more dangerous to them. It's how our brain works. It's how our schema is set up. There's too much out there to take in. Our brain looks for things that are either relevant or dangerous. So if we don't assert ourselves into our thoughts, we're always going to stay safe. We're always going to stay right. We're always going to stay comfortable because that's how we're programmed. But once we recognize that I and my thoughts are separate, now we need to understand how to use the light properly. And so when that thought comes into your mind, the proper use is to understand, okay, how much light should I shine on this? How much of this should I engage with? How much of this thought should I bring into my consciousness? How much of the thought should I engage in and give credit to and give validity to? It's like that in life. If you're running a government, if you're running a state, you're running a city, and there's a line of people speaking with you, and one guy gets up and says, this is ridiculous, the parking tickets, parking should be free. And you may be looking at it and being like, I got it. Like, I appreciate it. Like, thanks. And then the next person may come to you, may be your top advisor, and you'd be like, what, really, you think so? They're both saying words. Is that you, as the mayor, as the governor, are the light. And you have to shine a different amount of light on the words of some random guy in the street that's just spewing his stuff and your top advisor. That's like what it's like in your mind. We have to learn how to take this belief and this thought and that thought and shine different lights on it. This thought gets darkness. It's not true. I know I could do this. Now, I feel like I can't do it, but I know I can do it. So I'm done giving expression to this thought. So when the thought comes into my mind, I just let it pass. I don't engage in it. The Talmud says this. The Talmud says that when you deal with people, when you deal with fools, the way you deal with the fool is you don't engage the fool in regular matters. In certain matters you should, but when that foolish thought comes in that you know is not true, because you've done it and it's been okay, or that person can't be that bad, or the kid is not trying to be malicious, he's a kid, or the person is not, when all that stuff, 20-30% of our day that is just, we know is just our insecurities, or just our hang-ups, or just our grudges. As that passes by, we can't stop that thought. You can't stop that film from coming down. And here's the problem. We try to. I shouldn't be thinking that. Why am I thinking that for? Why am I thinking like this for? When the thing comes down, just let it go. Stare at it and go, am I still thinking like that? It's as relevant to you as the ticker. If you invest in the stock market and you look at a ticker, for those of you who know, who are in Wall Street or know Wall Street guys, they've got these terminals at their desk, and one of the pieces is these, I think these tickers. So they're looking at the ticker half, and they're looking all day. But guess what? They're only looking for the stocks that they care about. Those thoughts are coming by you all day. There's stuff that just passes right by. You almost laugh at it, like it's funny to you that like you're still thinking about this. By doing that, you're separating yourself. And by separating yourself, you are enabling those thoughts to not have expression in your mind. Hold on one second. Let me just turn on the lights here. That's a little better or not. That concept, you shine no light on those thoughts. And then there are other thoughts that are like sort of, You shine a little light on the thoughts. When I mean shine light, I mean you bring them into your mind. And then there are other thoughts that you have to hold on to. You ever had this before? If anyone ever did anything in public, this happens all the time, at least to me or others. Anything you do in front of other people, anything, your business, your career, your family, you can do something, people can go, that was great. You can get 10 that was greats. One person goes, I don't like that. And you come out and all you're thinking is, it was terrible. Why? Probability-wise, you've got a 10-to-1 ratio of it being better than one person. How come? Because that thought touches a core of this need to be socially accepted, which is a survival trait. So that thought of you're not good enough gets so much light. And the thought that you are good gets nothing. But once you understand that how you feel is just a thought, you can now hold on to that I am good and bring it into your mind and think about that. Not to be arrogant, but to build the confidence that you're going to need before you get into the next thing that you're going to do. And you can look at the thing that I'm not good enough and just let it pass. Okay, the guy's a hater. Or maybe there's something I can learn about it. To be lost in that thought and that pain. And we have that ability to do that. There's a book that I remember reading. I pulled it off my shelf. I don't really know who this guy is. Someone sent it to me. It's called I Can Make You Happy by a guy named McKenna. I'm not vouching for it. I'm just saying I found it on my shelf. I thought about you guys. And this guy basically says he's like a hypnotist. And he explains how the way he can make somebody happy, he sits them in his office and he has them remember the past. This is what he does. And as you remember the past, for there's some thoughts that are really plaguing them, he like has them turn the colors off and the sound in their mind, sound and colors, until it's like a black image. And for the stuff that he wants to grow them in, he has them remember the moment where they've been successful, and then he has them visualize more colors, more sound. And the more they do that, the greater that feeling is on them and how it starts to change how they think. It's just an idea, but the concept is the same. It's hard. What I'm talking about today is super hard. Is that NLP? I didn't even know that. Leron says it's NLP. It's hard, but we need to engage in hard stuff to win. We're living in if you look at the world today, the world is engaged in war. It's hard to be a spy. It's hard to engage in really difficult aspects of war, but you're not going to win if you don't play. This is hard work, but it's worth our efforts. And if all we do is get a little bit better, it's worth it. So how? So here's what I want you to do today. I just want you to try to see if you can watch some of your thoughts. Just try a little bit when you have a thought that comes throughout your day, just to try to like envision yourself as separate from that thought. If you can just break away a little bit and say, is that me or is that my thought? And then if you can possibly let a bad thought pass, just one bad thought, someone says something you don't like, just let it just go by. Just give it nothing, like as if you're watching it on a ticker. We'll start to build the muscles of our minds. And then over the next few days, we'll talk about how those muscles are actually shaping our beliefs, which is changing our schema, which is how we can build this as a ritual, which can make this automatic. We'll get there with God's help. All right. So for those that came in for the Daily Boost today, thank you so much. Have an incredible day. And with God's help, I can't wait to see you again tomorrow. And for those who are staying in, thank you so much for joining us. I'm going to open up some questions that I got yesterday. We're about to do the, let's see if I can get my account open. Okay, here we go. I want to just get some questions from yesterday. Okay. So thank you so much for joining us today on the Daily Q&A. This question today comes in from Rebecca. How do we create distances from our thoughts when they enter? How do we step back? Can you share the actual steps and process and how to do that? Okay, so let's just go through this a little bit. And then maybe we'll take another question as well that'll go, okay. Well, you know what? Let's push that question off for now, Rebecca. Thank you for it, because we're going to talk about it tomorrow. The question I want to hit is from Ken. I found that when I cannot do something that has become routine or has become ritual, it makes me feel uneasy or feel off track. Any thoughts or techniques to avoid becoming obsessive about routines? Awesome. Okay. So the whole goal of a routine is supposed to change you, right? You know your routine. So yesterday we started talking about this idea of the life span of a routine. Then the beginning of a routine, it feels like it's not you. You got to fight, that you feel like a hypocrite. The second stage of the routine is that fight to make it stick, right? Because you got to get it to stick no matter what, and you got to adjust it. At some point, that routine becomes part of who you are. Now, the good news about a routine, feeling obsessed about routine, is that it's actually taking form. So you have to get to a place where when you're not doing that routine, it's good to feel as if something's wrong. That means you've done your job. That means your brain says it's 9 a.m. How come we haven't done this before? So whenever somebody feels about a routine, like if right now you've been journaling for like 2 weeks, and now let's assume you journal at 6, and now it's 7, and you're like, I didn't journal. Gosh, I didn't journal. And you're upset to some extent. That's a really good thing, because what you're doing is you're actually aligning your brain to doing the things that you want. And the things that you want are now feeling normal. Like think about just how much one has grown by then. But it's important that now you don't get overrun by last year's routines. So just the fact that you can do a routine enables you to understand that I can change my brain. And for the most part, if you feel obsessed about your routines, that's a really good thing, because that means that your brain now feels comfortable doing the things that you put in it and not something that was put in by you. However, and this is an important, I guess this is good you asked the question, Ken, because I think we're getting towards, this is like part 2 from yesterday. So yesterday we spoke about the first part of the routine. Now let's speak about the second part of the routine. Routines work for you. You don't work for your routine. So in a way, you have to be careful even on your routines. And here's why. Because As you gain visibility, as you go down the road in life, you gain more visibility. Okay, so when you were 18, you may say, I know what I want to do in my life. I want to do this. And then you go, okay, and you build the routines. And now you do this and this and this and this and this, and you got a full program that is going to align to take you to the goal that you set for 18. You start doing stuff and you go down the road. I'll give an example. Let's assume you want to be an athlete. Okay, so you want to be a professional basketball player. Okay, so you're 18 years old and you got it. So wake up in the morning and take shots and do this and work out. Okay, you start going down the road and you realize, I don't want to play, I want to coach. Now, if you want to coach, your routines that you set up to play are not going to get you coaching. So you got to change your routines. But you didn't have visibility when you were 18. The only reason why you had visibility is because you went down the road of these rituals that got you in the game. And when you got in the game, now you're playing at a professional level. Now you can see it for what it is, and now you can make your adjustments. So you have to understand, this is the most important part to this. This is why this whole world of like, find out what you want to be at 18 is so flawed. It's so flawed that like you have to pick your career before you're even 21. Like people are pushing kids to pick careers in high school. In high school, like you can't even drive and you're going to determine the next 50 years of your life. It's such a flawed concept. The way it really should work is you got to do something. So if you're going to pick a career, fine, but it's just a direction. You're always evolving to understand yourself. So when you live in this world of vision, I want to go here, and then routines, rituals, this is how I change my mind to make it feel natural. What's going to happen is you're going to walk down a road. And when you walk down a road, you're going to see things you didn't see 10 steps behind you. The ability to make adjustments on your own routines is just as critical as the ability to put a routine that you didn't have at all. So it's the same exercise. It's just the faith that now you know how the system works, and now you have to take what you've done and adapt it. So I have a routine, let's say for my children, and I go down the road with my kids, and then what happens is the kids get older. If I'm still reading Goodnight Moon, and my kid is now 14, I got a problem. If I stop reading Goodnight Moon, so when they were 3, I read Goodnight Moon every night at 8 o'clock, and that was our time. Now they're 12 and they're too busy. So now I stop reading Goodnight Moon. Now I got nothing with them. That's also a problem. But once I understand that my routines can be built by me, and I get good at this game, I know myself. It's going to be hard. My brain's going to say, don't do it. I got that script from like 8 years old. Okay, press that. Then I'm going to get there. First week's going to be easy. I'm good like that. Second week's okay. By third week, I'm always going to give up. I always give up in my third week. I got to give myself this reward because I love this and I never treat myself, right? You're going to learn how to build routines. That's even more valuable than the routine itself. You see that? Like, I want to journal. I never journaled before. And now I'm doing it at 6 a.m. And I'm doing it and I'm doing it and I'm doing it and I'm doing it. And then I realized, oh man, 6 is not the right time. It really should be 9, let's say. Or it's not 30 minutes, it's too much. I really need to do 12 minutes. Or it's not 3 minutes, it's too little, I need to do 20 minutes, okay? The greatness about building routines is not the next routine. It's that now you understand how you build routines. So as you become obsessive as that routine becomes so implanted in you that it's obsessive, it's only showing you that this works. So now I got to start to pull back even further and say, okay, this works. I didn't do this 2 months ago. And now if I go to bed not doing it, I feel bad. Like I can change my life. Okay, how do I do this? Like, how does it work? I pick, I choose, I gotta create my vision. I gotta make sure it's the right thing. I gotta do it. Your brain's gonna say, don't do it, push through that. Your brain's gonna say, give up, push through that. Around week 4, And now you're teaching yourself how to ritualize your life, which will only enable the ritualizing process to be quicker and stronger, because your brain's going to go, oh man, here comes another routine. We're not fighting this. And now all that talk is going to go down, because your brain knows once you put it down on a piece of paper, it's over. That's what I was telling you with the, I don't know if I said this with you, with the working out and losing weight part of my life, how I'm all in and then I lose it. I'm all right. So when I was really going like this, that's exactly what I was doing. I was like, okay, I'm going to work out. Here's what I'm going to feel. Okay. Week 2, week 3, whenever it is, it's always around that time. I'm thinking, what am I doing this for? I'm a middle-aged Jew. What am I doing? I gotta lose this much weight. Come on. Same line, same give up, stick with it. I don't see results. You start learning about how hard it is for you to make the routine. And once you start playing, and I'll say this and I'll stop. Once you start ritualizing how to make a ritual, you see that? Now it's over. Once you ritualize the ritual process, once you know every move your brain's going to play, once you know all the scripts your brain's going to say, once you get through all that process to get you to that ritual from, I think this is a good idea, to I'm obsessed about it. Once you nail that period down and you can now control that factory line, I mean, we're gaining control of the mechanism. All right, hope that helps. Thank you, Ken, and thanks for who you are. Thanks, everybody. And please feel free to send in questions, charlie@charlieharary.com. Also, if you want to find out how to get this on demand or watch this live, please do so as well. This is every day on all the different platforms. It's been an honor, guys and ladies. And with God's help, I cannot wait to see you again tomorrow.